Am I the butthole for refusing a necklace with my son's ashes after my husband let his mother take the urn? My son Tom passed away 4 months ago. At the age of 6, he had a heart condition that robbed him of living his childhood like any other kid. He was such an angel and he loved food so much. I tried to feed him as much as I could because he was so thin and didn't have enough energy to run around and play because of his condition. My husband's family were directly involved in my son's care. They were always there, but they never stayed at the hospital so I could go home and get some sleep. They stopped their kids from being around him. They did not help at all. When my son passed away, they felt free to take his belongings, clothes/toys/blankets, and my mother-in-law insisted to have a burial service, but I chose to have him cremated and kept his ashes in an urn inside my bedroom. My mother-in-law started visiting regularly. She didn't do that when he was alive, just visited the hospital, and she started talking about making ashes pendants for me, my husband, and her family as a way to carry Tom's memory with us and keep him close wherever we go. She told me that my brother-in-law loved Tom so much and wanted a pendant made for him as well. I was stunned and I didn't know what to tell her. I remember telling her that this was never going to happen, and that all those family members have their kids with them and that I was the one who lost a son. She started arguing, talking about how important Tom was to her and the family, and that my husband would agree with this fair treatment instead of keeping an urn in my bedroom and refusing to let the family share their grief. I told her there was no way I'd say yes. She seemed so upset and took it personally, started berating me and talking about how everyone else was trying to show support, and that was the last time we spoke. I got invited to a road trip by my family to help get me relieve so much stress, and when I returned after 6 days, I found that my son's urn was gone. My husband showed me a necklace that he said had my son's ashes in it and pulled out another one that belonged to him that was in the shape of cross. He told me that his mom made necklaces for me, him, her, brother-in-law with our son's ashes, paid money to get it done and so we could all have Tom with us. I was in a shock. I had to sit down for a minute. Turned out he allowed his mom to take the urn while I was gone, and his defense was that his family cared so much for Tom and that they all deserved to keep a memorial necklace as a way to remember him. I yelled at him that this was my son, not theirs. She had no right to take the urn and do what she wanted with it, especially when I told her no. I was so mad with him. I couldn't even look at him. I took my thing and then went back to my family and refused to take the necklace that she put thousands on. I called her and berated her for her awful behavior and told her she was selfish and inconsiderate for taking my son from me like that. My husband is trying to apologize, but I can't accept he did this and betrayed me. I'm so sorry for your loss, NTA. I would be livid. I would be looking into legal action against Mill and I would be filing for divorce. I'm so sorry they happened to you. What awful people. He actually tried to guilt trip me into accepting by telling me repeatedly how much money his mother paid to make those necklaces, and it's so wrong, just so wrong of her to think she had a right to do this, and it felt like a slap to the face after I told her that I would never give away not even some of my son's ashes no matter what, and I cried just like the time I cried when my son passed away. It felt like I lost him again. It's horrible and I can't forgive my husband for what he did to me. I hope she's happy. I hope she can now walk around wearing that necklace, just lying and pretending that she cared for my son. I know it's all for show. She did this for show. I could almost swear she had a different motivation, and it makes me so sick she used my pain to get herself the attention she wanted. I call the home that put all the ashes into the necklaces and ask them if they have any advice on the theft and what their verification procedures were before they took the ashes. Then I'd go and get the ashes back, with the threat of the police. She stole from you, that was theft, and you have a right to press criminal charges. I agree with taking legal action. You can post to our /legal advice to get a sense of whether it would be worth it. Reddit link. Or just have a consultation with a real lawyer. They're usually free. This sounds like much better advice. Never post in legal advice. It's horrible. Why? I love reading legal advice. The mods ban lawyers and anyone who is more knowledgeable about certain laws than them. Most of the quality contributors are law enforcement and not lawyers. I got banned because there was apparently no way I could know that much about HIPAA despite being an assistant HIPAA compliance officer. It was literally my job for several years. Before I got banned, I got yelled at by a mod for correcting a quality contributor who gave the original post advice that would land them in legal trouble in our state. Op and I both live in the same state. The mod tried to claim that because the person was a law enforcement officer from a state that was 4 states away that they knew more than I did. They say if you've never been banned in legal advice, you've never given good advice there. I went to legal advice for a neighbor who was recording us and harassing us by calling various organizations to defame me because I offered to buy their dog who they don't take care of. They told me there wasn't anything I could do and I was wrong for wanting to pursue legal action. She ended up calling CPS on me and filing a false claim, and when I got an actual lawyer involved, he gave me 5 things I could actually pursue, and we finally were able to make them stop. Never using that sub again. The only good advice they give is consult a lawyer. I tried to give someone advice there once because I dealt with a similar situation, and they told me I had 24 hours to delete my post or I'd get banned. I asked what I said that was so awful and they just repeated themselves. My post asking what I did also had about -28 downvotes for some reason. Some of the things people post are interesting, but seriously, screw that place and those Nazi mods of theirs. Op doesn't need entertainment, she needs lawyers, from criminal to civil to divorce. NTA. I call bullcrap on what she paid and what the necklaces even actually are, because I know a company that does this and turnaround time is weeks, not days, for well done items to be finished. Some things are unforgivable and this would be one of them. It cannot be fixed and she had no right to even touch your child's remains, much less pass them out to whoever she felt like. Where are the rest of the ashes? And the urn? That's my question. What happened to the urn and the rest of the ashes? A few necklaces aren't going to use the entire contents. Maybe a spoonful each. So NTA, op. Edit, typos. I doubt she paid thousands. These type of objects take weeks, not days to make. Talk to a lawyer. Send divorce papers. This is not something I would be able to forgive. See if you can sue or press charges against Mill. Pressing charges might be difficult since husband gave permission, but it's worth looking into since they may have needed your permission too. But legal action, even just civil, may lead to getting every single piece of jewelry she had made with your son's ashes being in your possession, where they belong. My heart hurts for you. Not the butthole. That just makes this post even more heartbreaking to read. You should get the urn back and all 4 necklaces so you have all of your son. Maybe find someone who can undo this. They had zero right to even think about touching that urn. Sue for the return of the urn and its contents. Sue the home for unauthorized dispersal of remains. He actually tried to guilt trip me into accepting by telling me repeatedly how much money his mother paid to make those necklaces. WTF? Jewelry is more important than your son's ashes? Just wow. If I were you, I would be pissed and tell him that how thoughtful he was when it comes to money instead of family. I'm so sorry. I'm so angry for you and with you. NTA. They should have asked your permission. I don't care what effing weasel words they use. They had no right. She already knew that I had no intentions on doing what she asked, but she thought that my husband's approval was enough for her. He has no excuse, absolutely no excuse for what he did, no matter what he says. I'm hurt by him mostly because I really thought that he was the only one who really understood my pain and how much my son's death devastated me, but I see him differently now. He made me feel like I was losing my son again, and he is responsible for what his mother did. I cut contact with her. She knows she can never even call because of the things that I'd say to her. She knew she made a mistake and she's now hiding behind my husband. I am legitimately angry with you. I'm so sorry for your loss. Divorce him. Same. I'm so angry I wouldn't be able to control myself around her Mill and ex-husband. And I don't even know them. What if heads? Honestly. Please get the necklaces back up. You deserve every piece of your son. I would sue for their return. If she can't get them punished for theft, she should at least pursue getting all pieces of her son back. Yes. Not just the necklace. Every damn piece the Mill stole from a grieving mother. I'm in disbelief someone could do something so horrible. Not a bad idea. And if seeing the necklaces causes her too much pain, she could always put them away in a little memorial box, or back in his urn, or she could even have them buried. There is a small way for closure left, I think. I don't imagine this isn't going to end in divorce, though. It should anyway. I'm so sorry to say this, but if there is anything else of his that is dear to you, like toys or clothing, secure it now. Gather it all up and put it somewhere safe. And I'm on the divorce train too here. What he did was unforgivable. I'd honestly tell him the only way that your marriage could be saved was if every speck of ash was returned to the urn. Then I'd probably divorce him anyway. Unfortunately, she said her husband's family already took all the son's items, including toys and clothes. Seems like they wanted to take everything that was left of him. What absolutely horrendous people. I would divorce him ASAP. I agree. There is no way our marriage would ever be the same after that. I always think this sub is quick to jump on the divorce bandwagon, but this is one time I feel like it's a likely outcome here. This kind of thing, in the midst of huge grief, could be impossible to overcome with the husband. If he knew that Original Post was against the necklace idea and did it anyway, I can't imagine how Original Post would overcome that kind of betrayal. If he was unaware of the prior discussion between Original Post and Mill and his mother convinced him that Original Post was okay with it, maybe he could be more easily forgiven. But seeing as this took place behind Op's back while she was out of town, it sounds like he knew she was against it. NTA, sorry for your loss, Op. They did ask her permission and she said no. Then, they stole them. Straight up agree with you, and they had no right. Not the butthole. So basically, Mill is a grave robber. And your husband enabled it. I am so sorry this happened to you. It is so far outside the boundaries of reasonable behavior. Yes, I agree so much with this. It would be one thing if it was something you and your husband agreed would be a fitting way to memorialize your son, but it was not. She essentially desecrated his final resting place in your eyes. How can you do anything but divorce your husband after this? It would be justified simply for how he allowed his family to treat you whilst your son was alive, but after this? Does he ever put your needs first? She essentially desecrated his final resting place in your eyes. This is where my brain went. She took pieces of his body to put in jewelry. Not only that, it sounds like she gave them to every man and his dog like a goddamn flea market. I cannot even imagine how poor Original Post is coping. The sick thing is that whether alive or not, people will always use children as a source of sympathy and attention. Like Op said, her mother-in-law never gave her son this much attention even when he was alive. Mother-in-law is probably doing this for likes, shares and attention. It's sickening. I hope Op can get the urn back. Definitely. Sounds like she wants the sympathy that comes with it, but wasn't willing to put in the love for it. And a grief robber. Maybe this situation could have been better negotiated over time. Of course, the child's mother should factor into final decisions regarding this. They had no right to take that from her. Holy crap, this is vile. Who the F decides to part out someone else's child's ashes? JFC. NTA. I'm so sorry for your loss, I can't imagine. This is absolutely disgusting behavior and I'm furious on her behalf. There is no coming back from this for her husband and his family. I want to hug Original Post. My dad died when I was 13. He was cremated before I got to see the body, parents divorced, we lived in different states. Later found out my uncle got the ashes and decided to mix them into the ground with a peach tree he planted on his property. He did his without asking anyone. I've been out to see the tree once. My uncle no longer lives there. My dad's ashes are just in the ground on some stranger's land. WTF. Uncle is in butthole. I would be furious. I've got my dad's ashes at home thankfully. People suggested a similar idea or getting him a plot in the cemetery, but I couldn't without being sure that I'd always be living around here. I would have flipped my crap if anyone thought about taking them away. I unfortunately have been hit hard this 2020 and am dead broke. If I could, I would ask to set up a GoFundMe for this lady to get an amazing lawyer who would help her get every bit of her son's ashes back. This makes me so mad, and honestly I have no idea how Original Post is able to cope right now. I'd be shaking in anger and sadness. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.